YouTube.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference.
YouTube will get,
Quality
it'll build up.
live
That's
with
what I
pride.
like about YouTube. Welcome to YouTube live from Saturday Night
Tinting your
Game
vehicle
tonight.
windows has many benefits.
It'll
It makes your
build
car
up
safer,
for,
prevents
yes,
glare,
value
3M
is there.
quality from
And so
advanced
that's what I
window
like with
tinting,
Facebook.
prevents the
search
glass
value
from
isn't
shattering
there.
if you're in an
The SEO
accident.
is
Tinted
like
windows
keywords
hide
right
your
there.
valuables,
YouTube-
pick up to
YouTube is
99% of the harmful
and it's
UV
free.
rays,
And it's free
preventing
to live stream
premature
everything.
aging
So that's
and
why
reducing
I
the risk
switched
of
when
serious
Facebook
skin
switched all the rules.
conditions. At
As far as
Advanced
organic
Window
reach is
Tinting,
concerned,
they can
I
get you
switched
in and out
to
in under an
YouTube.
hour.
So,
Call
like, how do you split the road that you're on?
545-8115.
What I'll
Advanced
do is
Window
during like
Tinting,
commercial break, then I'll take the link from the actual
545-8115.
video and I'll go to Facebook.
You feel like
and say we're
everything
live until
is
9
put on
p.m.
hold.
Or I'll go to
Here's
Twitter and I'll
Hunter
say we're live
Scantling to
until
talk
9
about his
p.m.
experience
And
with
so I'll
Southeast
keep-
Orthopedic
and
Specialists.
I need to be
When it
better
comes to
about,
injuries like
social
that,
promotion
you
in
gotta
the
make
middle
sure
of
you
the
get
show.
the best
Just
advice,
people
the
driving
best
back to the
surgeon.
link. But once I'm
Luckily,
telling you about,
I was
10
recommended
to
to go
15
to
people watch
Southeast
live,
Orthopedic
and
Specialists.
then it'll pick up the views
The office
more
was
than
awesome,
100,
very nice.
depending on
Everybody
what
there
format is.
made me
And
feel
even,
at home.
different-
Everybody's
I've played
been
around,
spot
like,
on.
different
Get
views,
your
like,
body moving
if I have a
again
camera
with
far
Southeast
away,
Orthopedic
it's significantly
Specialists.
less
Find
views
out more
than
at
if it's right on that road.
se-ortho.com.
Because I psychologically feel like they're part of the conversation when they're closer.
This is your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Ryan Bonifant for 1010 XL. Jaguars defensive end Calais Campbell joined Midday Chalk earlier today to promote his inaugural bowling classic that takes place at main event on May 15th. Campbell did discuss how the offseason has been so far.
I just get the energy in the locker room, every day while we're here in our phase 2 workout. And, I don't have many doubts. I think we're going to go out there and, I'm very confident we're going to play our kind of football, and we're going to be a good team this year.
It is Players Week, and Tiger Woods is making his 18th appearance at the Players, and here is Tiger on the course and what he's looking forward to.
As you all know, just looking at my record, I didn't play this place well. I struggle with it. You have to play well here. There's no way of faking it around this golf course.
Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes, is coming up now on your home for the Jags, 1010XL.
Local sports on Jacksonville Sports Station 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes, is presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products on 1010XL. Now your hosts,
Lauren Brooks,
Donna Murphy, and Blythe Brumley.
Welcome into Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. My name is Blythe Brumley. Lauren and Donna are out tonight, but we're joined with two special co-hosts, two male co-hosts, with Ryan Hacker Green and with Tyler Devitt still on the producing table. And are you guys wearing heels tonight?
You know what, Blythe? I saw your tweet earlier, and I thought about it. I thought about borrowing some of the wives and coming on in here and getting after it on Helmets and Heels. I did not, though, unfortunately. However, it is a big night for me because this is my first time on Helmets and Heels, and you guys have been doing this show on 1010XL for geez, what years and years.
I think we're coming into our fourth football season. Football season is when we started, and I think that this coming up year will be our fourth football season.
That's fantastic. You guys have done a great job with this show and growing it every week here on 1010XL, and I'm happy to be with you tonight.
Thank you. You're allowed back on now. I'm just kidding. Well,
I've paid my due diligence, yes.
Next time you just have to wear heels, though. That's the golden rule. Even though none of us ever wear heels. I think we wore heels the first 2 weeks of the show, and then the rest of us just sort of threw that rule out the window.
Remember a nice photo shoot you guys did where you had heels as well.
Well, we only had heels on in the photo shoot. You didn't see the breaks in between where we just ripped them off the minute the pictures were done being taken.
Ah, yes, indeed.
Well, this is a big week here in Jacksonville with the Players Tournament going on. This is a local staple here in the community. As much as the Jaguars are a part of this community, the Players are just as much of a part of this community, if not maybe more of a community aspect to it because of the amount of money that they donate to the community. I think it's about $84 million has been donated in the North Florida area since the tournament was brought to Ponte Vedra in 1977. Are you going to have a chance to make it out there at all?
Oh, yeah. No, I'll definitely be out there. My wife loves it. We usually try to make it at least Saturday. Might go out there some Friday as well. Not big on going out there on Mother's Day. I like watching that at the house on Sunday, although I know certainly there's a big crowd that goes out there. And with this being the last time it's in May for the foreseeable future, obviously moving back to March, next year. We've got to enjoy this weather because we won't have the 90-degree beautiful weather next year. It might be a little bit cooler as you move it up 8 weeks.
I am okay with that because every time I end up going out there, I ended up sweating my behind off, and I have to sort of locate one of those tents that has air conditioning in it or one of those benches that are around in order just to cool off.
Now, did you prefer March as opposed to May?
Yes.
See, now, my problem with March, Blythe, was I remember one of the last times it was in March, the NCAA tournament was going on. Right, and it was the UConn-George Mason game. This was the year Florida went to the Final Four and won the title, but George Mason pulls off this huge upset of UConn. And the reason I remember watching that game is I was at the Players Media Center with about 100 other media members that were watching the basketball as opposed to covering the golf tournament. So I got to thinking, well, wow, the players, and it's kind of competing here with NCAA March Madness. We haven't had that, obviously, with it being in the month of May. So I hope when they move it back to March, you don't have the tournament overshadowing the basketball tournament, overshadowing this golf tournament.
That's true, but I think it could be safe to say that maybe that it puts Jacksonville on a higher pedestal as far as sports coverage is concerned, because you have these other, Jacksonville has the one pro team, but then you have the rest of these cities all across the country that they have these problems that we have a baseball game scheduled tonight, or we have a basketball game scheduled tonight, and do you go to one or the other? So I think that's a good problem to have, but I wonder if the two organizations will work closely together to sort of alleviate maybe some competition, because I did think, wasn't it announced today that we are getting the first and the second round?
Yeah, and that's an interesting point too. We'd have to see the dates of that. And I was just talking kind of from a broader scope, a national, TV audience. But as far as this year, with it being May for the final time, I don't know about you. I always get hit up for a lot of tickets this time of year. And what I've noticed is, and maybe it's just me, you tell me if you've noticed this too, tickets are a little harder to come by this year than in years past, and I'm not really sure why. Normally, if you want Thursday or Friday tickets, they're around.
Right.
This year, it's kind of tougher. You have to ask, a lot of people, hey, are you using your tickets? Can I get them? Or where are you getting your tickets at? Which I don't know if that's the Tiger Woods effect, that he's back in the field.
And Phil.
Phil playing with Phil, right, on Thursday and Friday.
What a pairing for that group.
Not to mention Ricky Fowler.
Right.
Nobody's even talking about Ricky Fowler. He's in that group as well. If it's because it's the last year that it's in May, what the deal is, but tickets, to me, much harder to come by here in 2018.
I bet it has a lot to do with Tiger and Phil. I think that those two guys are just such a almost just like a center of gravity for a lot of sports fans, and even just a casual fan. And I think that's where they're probably hit it out of the park as far as these guys coming back, because of the fact that these guys bring in the casual fans instead of like the diehard golf fans that normally show up every single year. They're out there for every practice around. But I think this year it might have to do with the fact that Tiger's back.
Now, with you guys going out there on Thursday, if you are going out there, are you going to battle the crowds and watch Tiger and Phil and Ricky, or are you going to go with the other blockbuster group, Rory, Justin, and Jordan?
I'm a guy that, don't get me wrong, I would love to see Tiger. There are going to be 1 million people around Tiger Woods. So to me, your best option if you want to see Tiger is go to like 16 or 17 or go to 18T.
Set up shop.
And set up shop. And you won't see Tiger but for 5 minutes, but you'll be up close and personal when he passes right by you, as opposed to trying to battle the thousands of people that'll be in that gallery on Thursday afternoon.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to see the best athlete in his respective sport, the person who draws in the ratings, who is that significant, sort of like but like the LeBron to the NBA. I think that you got to do it.
Well, and not only is it seeing Tiger, but as you mentioned, Blythe, it's seeing Phil. Those guys don't get paired together very often. They were talking to Tiger today down at the press conference about when he plays with Phil, and he had to really think about it. He remembered one time in 2008. He remembered another time in 2001. But the bottom line is he can't just rattle off all the pairings he's had with Phil Mickelson because they were never on the same side of the draw. Tiger was in the afternoon, Phil was in the morning. They wanted 2 different blocks for TV. So the guys never really played together in their prime. Now that they're a little older, the players is putting them together, and I think it is an absolutely fantastic idea.
And I think it was David Lamb on Jaguars Today earlier that he said that the PGA doesn't normally do this, but maybe this is a signal in the right direction that other golf events will start to do this same thing, because it does draw in the crowds and it draws in the ratings. So why wouldn't you want to put your most competitive golfers out there?
And when you first started seeing the pairings, or at least hearing about Tiger and Phil playing in those practice rounds like a month ago, we had Tom Alter on the drill on Brunch with the Tour, and he kind of said, you know, we're not trying to pair them up just yet because we're going to try and pair them together, and it was kind of hinting towards pairing Tiger and Phil here at the Players, but ended up working out that way, and I'm interested to see how many people ended up going in that crowd because it's going to be a large one.
It's definitely, what do they call it, the Tiger bubble, that you can tell bubble. Whenever Tiger is teeing off early in the morning or later on in the afternoon based off of what the crowds look like.
Well, here's an interesting piece of trivia. The Better Than Most putt in 2001, the long putt there on Saturday on the 17 green. A lot of people don't know this, diehard golf fans will. Phil Mickelson was paired with Tiger Woods. So when Tiger's doing the Better Than Most and doing the pump fist and everything,
way, I never knew
Phil
that.
Mickelson's on the green watching this transpire Saturday back in 2001. So those guys do have a little bit of history being paired together here at the Players.
I wonder how Phil shot after he made that putt.
Oh, it was a
probably
shell shocked, I would imagine. Yeah.
Well, you guys have obviously been out, Tyler and Hacker. You guys have been out to the Players a lot. What do you think is something that's as far as a little hidden gem as far as the Players is concerned? Is there any kind of, you know, sort of I guess tips that you could pass on to the rookies that are going out there for the first time?
I almost hate to give away my spot, but I'll do it. It's probably just the three of us talking right now anyway. AT&T. I think AT&T is absolutely fantastic. When they're coming through 17 and the tunnel, if you put your chair or whatever you want to do right there at the AT&T box, whether you're behind it or to the side of it, you're right there, almost on top of the golfers. And I think that is one of the best spots. Bring your binoculars. You can watch the whole play out as they, you know, move down the fairway. But I love camping out right at the AT&T box, and I think that is one of the best places to watch the golf tournament.
Tyler, what about you?
As far as tips, I would say bring sunscreen. Don't fight it. I've been that guy who's been like, oh, you know, I'll be under a tree or something. I'll be fine. No, you need sunscreen. That is a good tip from me. In terms of places, I'm terrible to ask. I usually just hang out around 17. I'm that guy who will kind of float in between 17 or 18. But that tee box at 18 is like, Hacker's not using any hyperbole. Like, you are literally like on top of these guys, like almost within 6 to 10 feet of Dustin Johnson teeing off and going 320 down the fairway. It's pretty incredible how close you can actually get to these guys.
And you can hear the roars from 17, so standing right there. So if you miss any of the action, you can probably check it out really quick. If you can run over there really quick. There's another spot that's around the AT&T that's called the Oasis. That's the spot that I like to go to because of the air conditioning and the access to Grey Goose, the Sawgrass Splash, which is my favorite drink at the tournament. So if you have a chance to check that out, definitely get one of those because it's you'll need it on those hot days out there.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about what the Players has done. The Oasis, obviously the benefactor. You know, the deal they have with the 9 green now. There used to be the wine and dine at 9. Now the greenhouse, I believe.
Yeah,
is
the
what
greenhouse,
it's called.
and then there's the patio. There's a few other places. The Players website has actually done a tremendous job of making these maps that you can go and you can download. And I'll tweet out some of these, but they have what's called a social scene map where you can go to different places like the Oasis, or they have the Foodies map, or they have the Ladies Day Out map, and it literally maps out on the course of where you can go to hit all these different little spots.
And what I love about it, Blythe, is you don't have to be a golf fan to go out and enjoy this thing. I've said this for years. If you don't go out to Sawgrass this week, if you don't go out to Ponte Vedra this week, you're not just missing a golf tournament, you're missing an event. You're missing the event in town.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's what the Players has become. My wife couldn't tell you anything other than Tiger Woods is really good, and she's heard of Phil Mickelson, and I think she thinks Rory McIlroy's hot, the last time I checked with her. Aside from that, she doesn't know very much about golf. Yet, she loves the Players. She loves the social aspect of it. She'll go out there and she'll watch, but let's not kid around. She'll go out there and hang out with her friends and do whatnot on the course. And it is the place to gather, the place to be with friends, the place to interact. And if you don't go out there, you are missing the event in town this week.
And it's almost like, for me, I have my football family that I see during football season. And with the Players, I have my golf family that I see once a year, and I see them out at the Players, usually on the Friday, because that's usually when everybody gets out of work, you know, at noon or whatever, and then they head down to the tournament, and you can see everybody there. But it's at those little places, those little nooks and crannies, like the Oasis, and there's a few other spots that are around the course, too, that we'll get into later on in the show, about as far as, like, you know, our favorite spots, and even like food spots. There's definitely a lot of food vendors out there, but that's the time of the year that I see my golf family.
And you can kind of tell too with your own life. I don't know about you, Blythe, but for me, I'm 34 now. I'm not 24. I remember going out to the Players 10, 12 years ago. Oh, buddy, it was a time now, all right? I would go into the turn, I would go into the benefactor, and I would just have one heck of a good time.
As Hacker would say, getting after
it. Now, as you progress in life a little bit, you know, maybe a glass of champagne now, maybe a couple of cocktails.
Hacker's ripping the Fireball. What is he talking about?
Yeah.
Are you sneaking it in?
No wine here.
I don't know about that anymore.
No.
Again, maybe 10 years ago, but you can kind of, as you get older in life, you tend to appreciate things at the Players more and maybe start getting away from things at the Players more. But that's what's great about the golf tournament. For any age, there's something there for you to do.
Definitely, and with this one in particular, I love how the Players sort of put a really strong emphasis as far as like the food is concerned. There were a lot of different food options that we were able to try last week during Helmets and Heels. We were out at the food tour at the Players. We're not there tonight. There's a concert going on. I think it actually just ended at 7 p.m. But there are a few different spots for food to consume, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that you try this place called Southern Soul Barbecue. It's located on the patio that's between the 10T and the 18 green, but it's basically a barbecue staple from St. Simon's Island, and they've been voted the best barbecue 2 years in a row by Southern Living magazine. So that they made a phenomenal slider, and they piled it high with pickles and coleslaw, and it was one of the best barbecue sandwiches I've ever had.
Well, that's what's great. What the Players does as well is they allow these local businesses, St. Simon's, pretty close to here, come in, expand their product, let people try their product and grow their business. The Taste of Jack's as well is one of the big things out at the Players.
Tacos on 12
with
Taco
on
Lou.
12 with Taco Lou. So the Players really does a lot of good for a lot of things, but also it really helps these local businesses get their name out there.
Do you have any must-try food options out there?
Taco Lou, you can't go wrong there. You know, the food trucks that they have all over the place. I know in the past my friends at Colhane's Irish Pub have been out there many, many times. I used to host trivia out there, so they always have very tasty food. But really, whatever you try, nothing's going to be bad out
everything I've ever had has been phenomenal out there. And this is not just me just pumping the tires at the Players, but it is one of my favorite events all year long in Jacksonville.
And I won't get too graphic here. I'm doing a little bit of a 180 based on food items. But you mentioned one of the hidden gems of the Players, one of the things I personally enjoy.
The Oasis?
Tyler, I don't know about you, my man.
Oh, yeah.
But there's something to be said for the restrooms out at the Players as well. They are luxurious. They are air-conditioned. They are spacious.
Filtered water that comes out of the water fountains,
and they're quite enjoyable. The whole thing out there, you would not expect an outdoor golf tournament to have really good restroom facilities, yet the Players has that.
I honestly couldn't tell you if they had luxurious bathrooms as you described them or
They do,
John.
man.
I honestly couldn't tell you the difference.
Well, when you go out there this week, try the bathrooms out, my friend.
Make note of it this week,
very good.
And if you're looking for a quick AC trip to get some air conditioning, if it's super hot, go into a bathroom.
Yes, indeed.
One of those bathrooms, it might sound a little strange, but just go in there and just stand in there because they're some of the coldest buildings on the entire course.
It's a great thing. And look, it's smart for them to do. The cool benches as well. You mentioned those earlier. I was kind of wondering, do those really work? Do they not work? Brother, let me tell you something.
Yes.
You sit down on those things, you're going to get pretty cold pretty quick.
I was a little mad at the Jaguars last season because they got rid of the air-conditioned benches at the bottom of the Bud Light zone. And instead now they have the Daly's gas station, which is great, built into the stadium itself. But they got rid of the dang air-conditioned benches, and that's where we would go after we got done tailgating. We would go and we would cool off before we would have to go sit in our seats. And they got rid of them, and now I'm just looking forward to the Players so I can try them out again.
And that's another thing. I know we're up against it here, but that's another place I love to go. Behind 17T, where you got, I forget what it's called, but you got all these food trucks out there, a lot of picnic tables in the area.
The patio, right?
That might be the patio,
I think it is the patio.
That is the patio. That's another place that I really like hanging out, doing a lot of meeting and greeting. That's a place that, if you're not as into golf as maybe you are into the social scene, the patio is a very cool place to go.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more. When we come back, we're going to get into a little bit more of the Players action, and then we're going to talk a little bit of LPGA and more Jaguars news later on in the show. This is Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Come on, Hacker. Champagne, really? On the text line. Something to be said for a good mimosa, man.
I don't even put orange juice in my champagne anymore. I just chug it straight. Hello, welcome in YouTube. It's sort of not a new format, but for tonight. No Lauren, no Donna tonight. Instead, we have Hacker and we have Tyler. So I'm outnumbered as far as male to female ratio is concerned. But we're going to be live with you until 9 p.m. tonight. So if you like, hit that thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, all those good things. It helps with the awareness of the show, and it helps spread the love for this little show that we got going on. So thank you.
You're good at all that. I need to do all that sort of stuff.
I mean, it's
with a nighttime show.
That's what my thing was, especially with Helmets and Heels. I'm like, who's listening to sports radio at 7 p.m. at night? Besides my dad.
I thought that for a while too, but 9 to midnight Tuesday nights. But what I've found is I got a lot of people talking to me about the Tuesday night show.
Yeah.
Because the midnight shifters, the graveyard shifters that are getting up. Jackson was a pretty big city. Like, everybody at the airport listens to us on Tuesday nights. Like, all the guys that work out there, I go on usapark.net, and they're all out there listening every night to, whether it's, Ron Compton, whenever I fly out. You guys have been on a couple of things when I've flown out. Jackson's a big city, so we forget sometimes that it's constantly moving and shaking.
And it is about being everywhere where your audience is, so...
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like all the big, like New York. I mean, granted, we're not New York or Boston or LA, but they're 24/7 sports radio, local sports. They never stop. There's literally a local guy that does 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. in New York.
Jeez. No.
That's what Baloo used to do when he was sporting news.
Really?
It was midnight to 4 a.m., I think.
See,
not granted, that's national.
I mean, it's just so, for me, it would just, if I were to start right now in sports broadcasting, I would start on YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah.
Like right now. I wouldn't even mess with trying, I guess, to make it on a local scene, I guess. Oh, shoot.
All right, so we're going to do golfers to keep an eye on and best moments.
Yeah.
You worked with the LPGA on getting more comfortable trying the game of golf. Oh, okay. I haven't played golf in so long, man.
I haven't played since I did the thing with the LPGA.
Really? Well, it's like the whole hacker thing is because of my golf game. Yeah, I don't ever play.
And that's the thing with golf. Like, you have to play all the time in order to even be decent at it.
Yeah. I was getting good enough to break 100, which is all I really cared to do.
Nice.
If I went out there and tried 95, I was perfectly happy. Devitt, you any good?
Oh, he's not there.
He's not there.
Mm-mm.
Tyler, what's your handicap at golf?
Me? Oh, I never golf.
No?
I honestly couldn't even tell you.
I haven't played in a while.
I don't even know what a bad or good handicap is.
I think if you break 100, that's
yeah, well,
good.
handicap's like what you shoot to par. I think it only goes as high as like 36.
I tried to get 36.
Tony and Dempsey are both pretty good.
Really?
I'd say the best two golfers at the state. Well, best three golfers probably.
Yeah.
Prosser, Frangie, Martineau.
Jack O'Brien.
Jack's good.
Jack's good.
There's a lot of good golfers here.
Yeah. Blaine Kirk.
Yeah, he's pretty good too.
I bet Steve Griffin's terrible.
I don't know what.
I'm just kidding.
Played with Cowart, played with Baloo. They're both not bad.
Mike was telling me he's ripping it like 300 yards now.
Dang.
Mike hits it a long way. I was with him when he got a hole-in-one.
We're back here in 30.
On
He's
the
like,
par 3/8.
I'm ripping it 300 yards.
I have never seen somebody jump that high. When he got a hole-in-one at Sawgrass.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
That's cool.
Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back into Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes, and we kicked off tonight's show talking players, and we're just going to keep this train moving. We're going to talk about golfers to keep an eye on. Now, I am a huge Tiger fan, so that's my golfer that I'm going to keep an eye on. I got a couple local names that I'm going to suggest, but what about you guys? Outside of Tiger and Phil, who are the golfers that you're watching?
Yeah, I mean, with a tournament like the Players, Blythe, there's so many guys that are so accomplished all over the world. I want to say, the 22 European golfers here, 14 of which have already won at some point on the PGA Tour. And then, of course, you got guys like Ricky Fowler and the sorts that have already won a Players among many, many other tournaments. To me, it's all about Jason Day. He's already got 2 victories this year. He's playing very, very good golf. Rory McIlroy as well. You got to figure his time will soon be here at the Players. And then I want to see Sergio Garcia.
Really?
The last time a lot of people saw Sergio was when he put a 13 on the par 5 at the Masters.
I'm not a Sergio fan.
Well, I want to see how he responds to that. I actually really like Sergio. Granted, I've had very little interaction with him. The one interaction I had was the night after he won the championship.
Oh,
here.
I bet he was in a good mood then.
Sergio was having fun in Jacksonville Beach. All right, let me just tell you that. So Sergio's a good dude. So ever since that moment, I've become a Sergio fan. I was really happy when he won the Masters. So he'll be a guy that I might follow around a little bit, tomorrow or Thursday and Friday this
Outside
week.
of, do you follow any of the local guys?
Oh, you mean like David Wingmuth, guys like that? Sure, absolutely.
I think Matt Kuchar, is he a local guy
he's
too?
from South Georgia.
Okay,
so close enough. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and Kuchar's a guy that's won a Players here in the past as well. So many returning champions. For all the talk about everybody, very little talk this week about Siwoo Kim, who dominated this thing a year ago. People just, I don't even forgot that he won or, what have you. But here's a guy that just could not be caught last year's Players. So I'll be fascinated to see how a year later, how a guy like Siwoo Kim is able to defend that title.
And you actually, that brings up a good point, because with the Players in general, it brings brings media from all over the globe to Jacksonville, which I think is fascinating. So if you're one of the lucky people that get to sit in the media center, then you can hear people from the UK, you can hear people from Australia, you can hear people from the South Korea or even Japan. You hear all these different media outlets in these different languages that you would never hear. I'd say it like a Jaguars game or even like a March Madness game. This is something that's so unique just to Jacksonville with the Players.
Well, and that's one of the cool things about being in the media center. I remember, I think it was last year, I'm eating lunch and Tom Rinaldi of ESPN walks in. John Feinstein is here. All the guys from the Golf Channel are here, Brandon Chambly, and go on down the line. So not only the international media, but the who's who media from all over the world is also at this event this week.
That's last year I had a chance to work the Perch, and at one moment there was Phil Mickelson and he walked by, and then Jordan Spieth walked by, and then you had Nick Lachey from 98 Degrees walk by, and I'm just looking around like, does anybody else see what's going on here?
Do you get starstruck when you see these people?
Yes.
I mean, you've been in media for a while, but you see athletes all the time. Do you get starstruck?
Yes, I do.
Because I have a weird story. The first person that I got starstruck by since I've been here in Jacksonville, it was Tom Rinaldi. I don't know why Tom Rinaldi kind of gave me the feels like that, but I saw him doing some interview after the round, and it was pretty cool. But I'd see Tiger Woods or Phil, and I was like, no.
I might faint if I ever shook Tiger Woods' hand.
I've seen him in the press conference room, and we've never had him on the radio. Obviously, he doesn't do a lot of radio, which I understand.
Right.
The guy's in unbelievably high demand. But Tiger seems like a very good guy. You mentioned Tom Rinaldi, Tyler. What a really good dude. I mean, you can tell a lot by these guys when the camera's not on and the microphone's not around. And I'll be straightforward with you. Not necessarily golf media, but I've interacted with some NFL media where they're a completely different person when that camera's on.
Chris Berman
that camera's turned off.
Famously fell for that a couple
And
times.
they're not the same guy, or gal for that matter. Tom Rinaldi's a guy that you talk to him when the camera's off. He's just like the guy when the camera's on. Absolutely terrific dude.
I think I would be like one of those fainting goats that if I ever met Tiger Woods, I would just faint on the spot, just spasm.
Does he still have the effect, sports-wise on you that he had 10 years ago?
When he was in contention for, or not, I guess kind of in contention for the Masters a few weeks back, it was appointment viewing for me. Mm-hmm. Normally, I would just catch the highlights on my sports viewership has changed dramatically over the past few years, where I watch a lot of highlights and I listen to a lot of podcasts instead of just sitting down and waiting for, the 6 p.m. or the 10 p.m. Sports Center to come on. I'm just catching highlights on Twitter, and then I'll catch the morning podcast in order to recap it all. But that was appointment viewing just because of Tiger.
It's interesting you say that, because Joe Coward and I used to have this conversation back on the midday show I was on back in the day, and that has golf grown up enough without Tiger where you don't need Tiger anymore? Meaning Rory and Dustin Johnson and Jason Day and Jordan Spieth, and they're all terrific guys. And if Tiger doesn't happen to be in the field, I'll still watch it because, there's still really good golfers out there that you want to watch and you want to see how they're performing. But this week in particular, when Tiger's here, it adds to it. It's almost as if, Jordan and Dustin and Rory and Jason Day and all these guys, they're a delicious, ice cream sandwich that you enjoy and you're fine with. It's awesome. But then Tiger just brings the hot fudge, man.
Oh,
and the
that's a good analogy.
And
I like
add
that.
stuff to it. And that, to me, is what Tiger Woods still does. The Players was very enjoyable in 2017. The Players was very enjoyable in 2016, although Tiger didn't play in either. Mm-hmm. The fact that Tiger's here in 2018 is going to add to the Players' experience.
And I think a problem with a lot of those up-and-coming golfers is that, particularly with the U.S. audience, they want somebody that's of their own. They don't, particularly want to embrace a Rory McIlroy because he's not from the States. And then I think with other guys like Matt Kuchar and even Jordan Spieth, even though he's loosened up a little bit over the past year or so, but they don't have that vibrant personality that I think somebody like a Tiger Woods has, or even like a Phil has. It takes a special kind of golfer to be both very good media-wise and then also be very good on the course.
And you're talking... Tiger talked about this today. It's been 10 years since his last major win. Think about that.
He did win the Players in 2013.
He won the Players in 2013, but you're talking about the big golf tournaments. It's been a decade, and even Players in 2013, that's 5 years ago, yet he still has the effect today that he did 10, 15 years ago. You talk about great moments at the Players. We mentioned the better than most putt. To me, nothing will top that. I was 18 years old. Actually, I was 17, about to turn 18. 17 years old.
Getting after
I
it.
actually happened to be out there that day on 17, back at the tee box with no binoculars, and I saw Tiger do that. And it was unbelievable. Now, I didn't know about the better than most call till I got home, because I had taped it and watched it when I got home. But to be able to see that live and see the reaction and the roar of the crowd, man, that was just awesome. And to me, 18 years later now, 17 years later, that is still my biggest moment watching this tournament.
See, that brings up a good memory that I have, because when about 10 years ago was when I was a waitress over at TPC Sawgrass. And for a lot of people who don't know, at TPC they have what's called the Champions Tunnel, and they have these big posters of everybody who's ever won the Players Tournament. And so when you can walk through and you can see all of these different winners, and the shuttle that we had to take to and from work during tournament days, they would play the better than most putt and all these significant moments that happened at the Players Tournament over the years, and they would play this on a loop on your actual tour bus as you're driving into the Players. So it's one of those little, I guess, hidden gems that the Players still offer, even if you're from anywhere from a worker on the course or even just a casual fan attending on your own.
Yeah, better than most putt. The year prior, Be the Right Club Today,
yes,
from Hal Sutton was also a terrific deal. I go back to Adam Scott. Who would have ever thought Adam Scott, one of his first big wins of his career, came here? I believe it was in 2005, maybe?
That's when I worked at TPC, because the girls loved that they had his poster up in the dining room.
Adam Scott's had a tough life. The guy's a multi-millionaire golfer, and I don't know a female alive that doesn't love Adam Scott.
Fun fact, on my website, guysgirl.com, the most searched for phrase consistently over the past 5 to 10 years has been Adam Scott shirtless. That's how people get to my website.
Well, there you go. But the one thing I remember, not Adam Scott being shirtless, but the one thing I do remember is he got wet on 18. You know, he was going in to win the Players Tournament. He had like a 2 or 3 shot lead, and he puts one in the drink. So then he had to get up and in to win the tournament. It was going to be one of the greatest collapses of all time. He had to make, I think, an 11, 12-footer to win, to avoid a playoff, and he drilled it. So the fact that you get wet on an approach shot on 18, you can rebound enough to get up and in from there, that to me was another signature moment of this tournament.
Goodness. All right, Tyler, what about you? Any golfers that you're watching?
I don't really have a guy I like, but I like Ricky. He's not boring. Jordan's boring. Some of those Justin Thomas is boring to me. So I kind of like a guy who isn't afraid to wear a kind of a vibrant color, kind of have that vibrant personality. That's what Ricky has. He's my age. He's about 29, I think. So Ricky's my guy if I have one.
And speaking of sort of the vibrant guys, there is a local guy here, Harold Varner III. He has a great personality, and he's one of those guys that I followed on a local level for a few years now because we did some stuff with him over at Void Magazine. But he is somebody that I've been waiting for him to sort of take that next step as far as his golf career is concerned, and playing at the Players. I think this is his second year in a row playing at the Players, so it's definitely a good step in the right direction. But he's one of those guys that's like a Ricky Fowler that has a great, vibrant personality.
And I don't know how you guys feel, the fact that we live in Jacksonville, 365 days a year. I also love the local guys. We have a lot of local guys, as you mentioned, in the tournament. But I heard it today, and I heard it yesterday, and it's starting to rub me the wrong way. Every single year, this week, and it's the Golf Channel that's pitching this narrative over and over and over. Is this the 5th major? Is this the 5th major?
Oh, don't get me started.
This, that, and the other. At a certain point, I don't care if this is a major or not. I'm so tired of hearing that. I don't know why they continue to push that narrative. The bottom line is, the Players is its own entity.
It is.
It doesn't need to be a major. It's got the island green. It's the best field in golf. We know it every year. So whenever we have a guest on, or I have a guest on Hacker After Dark or wherever, you will never, ever hear me ask them, is this the 5th major? It's a tired topic. To me, it's quite frankly a lazy topic that people just bring up this year because maybe they don't have anything else better to talk about. I don't know why that becomes a question every week or every year that this tournament goes on.
There was a few years back that I spoke with Mark McCumber, I think he won the Players in '88, and he was the first person to actually tell me that there is no governing body in golf that determines what is a major and what isn't. It was actually established in the 60s by one writer, and then from there, maybe even earlier than the 60s, but it was established by him that these 4 golf tournaments are going to be called major tournaments, and we want to have something called the Grand Slam, where people can go and if they win all 4 of them, they can get the Grand Slam, and that's how he built it. So there isn't an official governing body within golf that says, okay, well, this qualifies as a major and this doesn't. So I've since taken that stance, since talking with him, that I'm just going to call it the 5th major. It's not a debate for me that it is golf's 5th major.
And you're right. And look, it doesn't count as a major on the win total, but to me, I think to a lot of golf fans, I think if you give golf fans truth serum and say, look, list me your top 3 tournaments of the year, they're going to give you the Masters, they're going to give you the U.S. Open, and they're going to give you the Players. A lot of fans don't like the British Open, and a lot of fans don't like the PGA for whatever reason. Right. And maybe the British Open's 3rd and the Players is 4th. But I think you would be hard-pressed to find somebody that actually says they enjoy the PGA Championship more than the Players. So in the minds of golf fans, I think it already is a major. And regardless if it is or isn't, it's an awesome tournament, and that's what I take it for.
And I don't know what else you have to convince these people, because it has the largest purse in golf. It has the biggest competitive field.
Who's out there saying that this isn't the major?
There's one guy with the Golf Channel
I don't believe it's the 5th major, but I mean, what does it matter if there are people who disagree with you?
Well, Tony Kornheiser is one of them, but he's always going to bash Jacksonville, I think, for the rest of his days. But then you have there's one Golf Channel person that every year, that's sort of been his shtick, that he says that it's not. He's very, very adamant about it, that it's not the 5th major, and I think it's just a national media perspective or perception. I would say.
Do we talk about the British Open champions or the PGA champions? No, I think the only major actual sports fans care about is the green jacket, the Masters. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know who won the 2015 Open. I don't know who won the 2015 PGA Championship, but I know I pretty much know like who won the Masters
Well,
championships recently. I mean, that's obviously the only one that really matters in this sport.
I think what annoys me the most is when people talk about Tiger Woods and they're like, oh, well, he hasn't won a major in 10 years. I'm like, no, he won the Players in 2013. So that, to me, is where I try to correct people.
But and you're correcting me. And to my fairness there, Tiger's won 14 majors and 2 Players. That's what I love when people talk about Tiger Woods or any golfer. They'll give you the majors, but they'll also say a Players. They don't give you a John Deere Classic, or they don't give you a this tournament or that tournament or New Orleans Open or whatever. They'll say, yeah, he's won 10 majors. Oh, and he also has 2 Players wins. And that's why it stands out on its own, even from the major championships.
Yeah, I think it's more from a casual golf fan perspective that when I hear people talk about Tiger and trying to chase that infamous record of major championships, I'm like, it would be that much closer if you would count the Players as the 5th major, which it is. So I've just sort of been stubbornly saying that I'm just going to call it the 5th major, and that's that. Because if the media can make these rules back in the 60s, then why can't we?
Bottom line, it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to get out there starting probably on Thursday.
All right. Well, when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more golf, and then we're going to get into some Jaguars news and some NFL news. This is Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Home on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Listen for 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist.
21 then. You wouldn't be any closer.
Poor Slam just called me.
Shut up. That's semantics. Dang, that's a good point. Okay.
Hey, David Attacker. Oh, no problem. Okay. Oh, you want to do 9:15? Would that work for you? All right, buddy. We'll call you at 9:15. All right, man. No problem, bud. Bye-bye. Oh, I was asleep. I'm so sorry. Oh, my God. Let's just do it live. I can't believe I slept right through your fucking call. Oh, the freaking call.
You're good.
Yeah.
Cursing is allowed.
Okay. 9:15.
Just don't talk shit about your coworkers. Yeah. That's all.
9:15.
I had an elementary school friend comment on one of my photos the other day. He said, I remember you were the first girl I heard use profanity when we were on the playground in 4th or 5th grade. I was like, I don't remember this, but I'm just going to accept that it's true.
Oh, yeah. That's always what I love, is I'll get like an email or a text, or I'll see somebody. It's like, man, remember when you said so-and-so about the Jaguars 7 years ago? No, I don't. I don't remember what I said 7 hours ago. Yeah, you said this and about the Arizona Cardinals wide receiver. No, I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
And they could have just made it up, and you don't even know.
Yeah. You're getting mad at me for no reason.
Welcome in YouTube. We are live here. If you're just tuning in or just joining us for the first time, we are live here every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We normally have Lauren and Donna join us on tonight's show, but I am outnumbered by 2 guys. So Tyler and Hacker are joining us instead. We're going to get into some more NFL talk. We're going to talk a little Big Ben, NFL cheerleaders. We're going to talk a little bit